I am genuinely so stoked for this video because this is the kind of stuff that I live for. The 49ers just got another excellent insider report, and I cannot wait to tell you about it. Hit subscribe if you're looking for daily 49ers content, and then let me know in the comments on a scale of 1 to 10 how you feel, where your confidence is at with this 49ers offense. Because honestly, I could probably at least understand, maybe not agree, but I could understand any argument between like 4 and 10. Really, truly. You can go the route of your concerns about age and about injury history and that kind of stuff, and I could see where you get to those lower numbers. And you could go the other direction where you could say Kyle Shanahan, without having to worry about the defense like he has the last couple of seasons. Kyle Shanahan being able to just do his thing on offense. And he's got another guy in Robert Saleh. We saw it with DeMeco Ryans too. These guys are head coaches running the defense. You can just trust them with the other half of the field, right? There's a lot of positives I could take. I could talk to you about Christian McCaffrey's likely return to solid running back form, and maybe we'll talk about that later in the video. There's a lot of aspects to this. You, of course, locked in Brock Purdy. You did lock in Brock Purdy too, but you locked in George Kittle for basically the remainder of his career, we're hoping. And he has been absolutely immense, and he continues, despite injuries and things like that, he continues to show up and absolutely be the mentality and the X factor that the 49ers need. But you could also say the 49ers lost an X factor in Deebo Samuel, although he didn't play really well last year, and he hasn't played really well since the contract, to be totally, well, he hasn't played super well since the contract. My point is, I could see the argument anywhere from 4 to 10. But I did tell you I couldn't wait to get to the story, so let's get to the story. Like, what am I waiting on? When I was a young man, my dad wasn't around a whole lot, and so there was a man, there's actually 2 guys at my church who stepped up and mentored me as a young man, and it was massively helpful. One of the lessons that I was taught was leaders lead and titles follow. And that is something that has stuck with me over the years, for decades now, that has stuck with me, and I've found it to be true in my own life. You can give somebody a title who doesn't know how to lead, and that won't make them a good leader. You can take a person who's a leader and just leads from behind the scenes however they have to, however it works out in their scenario. And often you'll find that these people rise up because we want to give them titles, because we want to celebrate the hard work and dedication and leadership that we see from people way down below. Brock Purdy is most definitely one of those guys. He's a guy that is all about his business. He does the best with whatever he has in front of him, which perhaps has something to do with a Bible story when he was a kid growing up, hearing about the parable of the talents. I don't know. But the bottom line is he is a lovable dude, not just because of what he's done on the field, which of course has to happen. You have to execute to be a football player in the National Football League. But he's a lovable dude because he takes ownership of his mistakes. He makes the most of his opportunities that are in front of him with a constant growth mindset. He's always talking about how he's going to improve. And that impacted somebody. That impacted somebody in this locker room, and we got to learn about it thanks to Jennifer Lee Chan writing an excellent article interviewing Sam Darnold. Here's what Sam Darnold had to say about Brock Purdy. Brock helped me a ton with certain things of how to prepare, and even just watching him play, just how he processes on the field and all of those certain things. First of all, I think his poise. Whether he made a good play, a bad play, you celebrate on the field with your teammates, you get pumped, but then you come right back to the sideline and you have the same demeanor. That was something I always admired about Brock. And then the other thing is how he prepared. I say this all the time, but I give Brock a ton of credit in showing me the ropes that way. He showed me so much in how to prepare, to how to study. He was so helpful in that way. Let's just take this in for a second. Sam Darnold went on an amazing season last year. Okay, and by the way, I predicted it. Shameless plug for something I said on someone else's podcast. And before you think I'm all just self-promotion here, I also thought the 49ers would go 12-5. Okay, so we'll keep it all in check. But Sam Darnold's incredible season last year, in part, was thanks to working with Brock Purdy. Think about that for a second. That's kind of crazy. How he got a massive payday because of his improvements in Minnesota, thanks to Brock Purdy. He had 3 years with the New York Jets, 2 years with the Carolina Panthers, and then his 6th year as a veteran in the NFL. Number 3 overall pick in the 2018 draft is learning from 262 in the 2022 draft. That's kind of crazy when you think about it. That's where he's giving his credit, or at least some of his credit. It was his 6th year in the NFL as an NFL veteran sitting behind pick 262 for him to finally properly learn how to prepare as a football player. Isn't that pretty wild when you think about it? I think this is something that we should be excited about. Brock Purdy just got paid. He deserved it. He earned it, whatever. And who cares about the specifics of the numbers? He got paid, I think, what was a very fair market value for a quarterback considering the rising salary cap, considering all things, okay? And arguably, the most important fix from last year to this year on offense is going to be a healthy Christian McCaffrey. Brock Purdy was at the bottom of the league in check down percentage, a number that I personally would like to see the 49ers in the middle of. I'd like to see our quarterback in the middle. Not too many checkdowns where it becomes predictable, but not so few checkdowns where you're missing opportunities. We saw last year at times where Brock Purdy was forcing it downfield giving up opportunities to actual chunk yardage available in a check down. Okay, and I would love to see the 49ers go and find that check down again. Find some of those opportunities that your running back is supposed to be providing for you and your quarterback has to be looking for. I don't know if it's a comfort. We had Isaac Guerendo get injured, Jordan Mason get injured. You guys, Patrick Taylor Jr. is coming in because of how many running backs are injured on your football team. And that's no disrespect to Patrick Taylor Jr., but he's not the guy that you're gonna hang your hat on, and Brock Purdy probably didn't have the confidence in him that he has in Christian McCaffrey. So all of that being said, Sam Darnold also talked about Christian McCaffrey, also covered by Jennifer Lee Chan. Same, different article, but same conversation. Christian, whether he goes through what he went through last year or he goes through what he went through 2 years ago, which was one of the best seasons of football that I've ever seen, he's always going to have that fire under him. He doesn't need external motivation. The best trait that Christian has is he is the most internally motivated person I've ever met in my life. He will always be that way, and that guy does not need any other motivation other than just he wants to prove to himself on a day-to-day basis. Christian is as ready as any player I've ever been around, Shanahan said on Thursday. We're switching to Kyle Shanahan in his recent interview. When he gets hurt, he's got to rehab and get better. Right now, he's as healthy as can be. We've got to protect him from himself. But Christian has a good idea of what he needs to do right now. So, yes, we've talked about this for several seasons now, that Kyle Shanahan needs to protect Christian McCaffrey. And he says it out loud. But I think when the game is on the line, he's always giving the ball to Christian McCaffrey. And I think the bigger thing for me is, Kyle, I would just like to see you put your money where your mouth is when the game is not on the line anymore. Okay, just give me that. If you could just give me that. When the game is like 2 touchdown lead or two possession lead and there's 5 minutes left in the game, can you please pull Christian McCaffrey out? Just please. Like, we are doing all this work to develop all of these other running backs. Like, let's please just take it easy on Christian McCaffrey. But don't miss what Sam Darnold said about McCaffrey. Okay, don't miss Sam Darnold's point about Christian McCaffrey and this external motivation, this motivation in Christian to be the very best personally. Like, he just wants to every day be the best version of himself. And that kind of attitude is exactly why he's able to show up right now and look as good as he has looked in OTAs, despite what some people might tell you. I felt like he looked fine. And I'm happy to hear that Kyle Shanahan is still thinking about and aware of the fact that Christian McCaffrey needs to be protected from himself, quote unquote, because the guy will just keep going and keep going and keep going. And you love that about him. Kyle Shanahan said, he's doing a lot less than he normally would do, but I know he is excited on how healthy he feels and the fact that he can get out there. And as I've told you guys on this channel, my personal opinion on Christian coming into this season is everything's perfectly set up for him because he was able to go through the injury recovery last season. And then throughout the season, he even had time to get in a full ramp up before getting an unrelated injury, which I think is really good for his Achilles. I think it's great for his Achilles injury, if you want to call it that he's able to get the full ramp up and then have to sit for the rest of the season. No, it's not what we wanted for 2024, but it could be absolute gold for 2025 because now Christian McCaffrey had the full ramp up and then an off season. where now he's back into the rhythm of the offseason. He had a long offseason, plenty of time to get things right, plenty of time to go overseas and take care of business however he needed to. And now coming into this season, I think we're going to see a very, very good, solid, healthy Christian McCaffrey. That's my hope. I don't know that. No one can predict that perfectly, but I do think that Sam Darnold and Kyle Shanahan are onto something with Christian McCaffrey's work ethic and his ability to go out there and produce this upcoming season. He still has it in him, in my opinion. I still think he has it. I'll say the same thing. Like I said this about Deebo Samuel too. He had a really bad 2024. I still believe Deebo Samuel can have a really good 2025. I believe that in Deebo. I don't think he's washed. I think there are a lot of other factors that were playing into Deebo Samuel not playing his best football. And I think having Christian McCaffrey back will be immense. It will be hugely helpful, and I'm fired up about this upcoming season. I'm fired up about the leadership on this offense. And if you ask me, like we get back to the original question, what is your confidence level? What is your confidence level in this football team's offense right now? My confidence level, I'm like a 7.5. I'm like, if everyone's healthy, I'm a 10. Because of health concerns, I'm like a little bit nervous. Okay. But in terms of is the offensive scheme old? No. Can the 49ers offense figure things out and improve and tweak after having a long offseason to think about it and to figure it out? Absolutely. I think Kyle Shanahan will make his necessary adjustments. I think that Kyle Shanahan is still the same brilliant offensive mind everybody in the league universally believes him to be. So I'm not at all worried about the offense figuring things out if all of the players are available. Okay, and there's question marks around how the 49ers adjusted last year when guys went down. That's a different concern. And I hear you in the comments, those of you that are talking about your concern for the offensive line. I feel you on that. I just think the 49ers are putting their emphasis and attention on other things. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's the truth. So we'll have to wait and see, of course, how this is all going to play out, and hopefully guys can stay healthy during training camp. Hopefully we can limit Christian McCaffrey's reps early on in training camp and save him from himself, and hopefully Kyle Shanahan will be a little bit more forceful in terms of how much he lets Christian McCaffrey stay on the field and take a little bit more ownership of Christian McCaffrey's injuries, which I think are to some extent the responsibility of the head coach, making sure that he stops his players from overworking themselves. We'll have to wait and see. As always, nothing's guaranteed in the league. That's what makes football so much fun every single Sunday, which we're now 13 Sundays away? That's exciting. We're less than 100 days away. That is very exciting to me. Thank you so much. Hope you guys are having a fantastic weekend and are about to kickstart an epic week for you. And I hope that you found this video useful, helpful. Like it if you did. Appreciate the likes and the comments as well as the subscribes. Appreciate all of you guys all the time. I'm having an absolute blast covering the 49ers, and I appreciate you coming and watching these videos.